We're on. There we go. We're live. Oh, hold on. I know it. Oh, you know it is. My hair falls down over there a little bit. That's why it is. That's why we need a little bit of that stuff behind it. We're good. All right. And welcome everybody. Welcome to Tomato Talk. Tomato Talk. Better late than not. That's right. Better late than not. You know why? Why? Because we get routines going. All right. Maybe we don't get routines going. I do. I do. And then you know what? When you fall out of a routine, when I fall out of a routine, it's not good. I wonder, what about you? See if we can get comments on this thing going forward. Or just think about it. We'll talk rhetorically over here, as if we were talking to an audience of 1,000. Rhetorically speaking, because nobody's going to raise their hand in an audience of 1,000. Nobody's going to say anything. You're talking rhetorically. There you go. Little thing for today. When you're giving a presentation to an audience of 10 and you ask a rhetorical question versus, hey, Mike, good afternoon, versus when you get a presentation to an audience of 1,000, you ask a rhetorical question, what happens? Well, in that audience of 1,000, I think the assumption is that's a rhetorical question. Nobody's going to really respond to it. You're talking to everybody. But in an audience of 10, you just might get somebody to respond. So then it's a matter of setting it up. Setting up, making sure the expectations of your audience is as follows, and that is them what to listen. So perhaps it's actually phrasing that rhetorical question slightly differently. Let's see how we do that. Do you prepare for everything, or do you just do it? Whew. Oh, one of our friends over at Toastmasters, she just answers everything. It's set. That club is set. That's a rhetorical, it's supposed to be rhetorical questions, not audience participation. Let's put it that way. Audience participation or not. So that's not. All right, whatever. But in a live audience, if you're speaking to a networking group, you're speaking to a Rotary Club, you're speaking to a smaller gathering where there's 10, 15, maybe 20 people, and you ask a question like that, somebody might respond. So what do you do? How do you do that? If you want to keep things rhetorical and not have people respond, not have people ask you anything, don't ask it directly like that. Do you plan ahead? Do you actually prepare your documents, your talking points before you go and do something? As opposed to saying, consider this. You might want to prepare the documents, your talking points prior to making a presentation. It just may help you become more time efficient, time effective, and memorable. Okay. Well, see, I think that could certainly work. It still might get somebody that responds to something, but you're phrasing the question a little bit differently. Therein sets the tone of what the audience is supposed to do. Or flat out, you could just tell everybody, keep your comments to yourself. Don't say it. No, keep your comments to the end. Or keep your questions to the end. And then we'll do an interactive at that point in time. But right now, I just want to share my thoughts with you for the next 10, 20, 30 minutes, 4 hours, whatever, whatever it might be. Can you imagine giving a speech for 4 hours? Craziness. I don't know. My longest speech, but it really wasn't. It was at the Miller Business Center. My longest presentation was an hour and a half, but it was totally interactive. That's not really a speech. I think my longest speech so far is about an hour. It was roughly an hour, 50 minutes, whatever it was. The time slot was an hour. So it's different, definitely different. I should have prepared for that. Did it. Probably repeated myself a couple of times. But yeah, it was an interesting one. So I wanted to bring up a topic as that goes. So anyhow, what's going on? I had the pleasure of spending the morning with my mother-in-law. We went out, ran some errands, did a few things, took care of stuff. And then in the morning, definitely ran into today. And that's where that topic comes up. Is it better late than not? And I think the answer to that is, yeah, you know what? For the most part, it is in there. There's always exceptions, but it is better late. Better to do something. Keeps that routine going. Keeps your process going, keeps your mindset going too, keeps it away from being distracted with other things. And I got stories to tell on that one too. It's like I was running every day and then I stopped. It's like, and next day it was raining. And it's like, and the next thing you know, 2 or 3 months passed by. Damn. I'm going to add a damn. That's not a good thing. Definitely not a good thing. So keep the routine going. And yeah, showing up a little bit late, not a good routine to do. But if you're going to do something and you make a commitment to do something, do something. Show and do it. You apologize, it depends whether you apologize, you don't apologize, explain, explain, as that kind of comes to be. In this case, so much as apologizing, but then explaining, look, we were out, took care of a bunch of errands. Had a chance to go visit Angela's house, the home store, Angela's house. We had some stuff through the ECNY Foundation, to donate. I finally got there. It has been so long. I've been meaning to get there with these things. But anyway, I finally got there, did that. Got a chance to take a quick walk through the store, their warehouse. It's unbelievably extensive. If you are looking for furniture, it's secondhand furniture, it's donated, but they have pictures there. They have some houseware like pots, pans, things like that, that are there. Uh, Knick-knack kind of things, some building goods, building items, some wood stuff that was in the back. Again, I didn't go through this stuff really quick. I did go through it really quickly to see what's there, but it is quite an operation. And I was really impressed. Oh, they got some chairs too, like lawn chairs and things like that for the outdoor tables. I really super impressed by that whole operation. And I'm going to give you a guess. The thing is like 60,000 square feet or something like that. It's a massive warehouse, really massive warehouse. It's on Route 112 in Medford, and it's Angela's Home Store. So they got some pretty neat stuff in there. Some old beds, dressers, night tables, couches, ton of couches, different kinds of chairs too. So it's interesting, and you never know what you're going to find. But Angela's house, for those of you that don't know Angela's house, I'll tell you, that's Bob Policastro and his wife's efforts. Their daughter Angela, passed away at a very, very young age. They were visiting their daughter in hospitals, and they had to travel far to do it. And they did it. They did whatever. Well, they did their thing as that went. But it was hard. It was just hard in a number of different areas. Hard, from the travel standpoint. Also, you're visiting very, very medically frail children, is the way it's phrased inside of hospitals. And it's like it was just very, very hard, very tough. I don't want to misquote him. We can find his words on that one. So he started uh, after a while. He started Angela's house. Angela's named his daughter, and the houses are actually um, they're like offshoot hospital. They're offshoot hospitals. I say hospitals. The houses are ordinary looking homes. I was explaining to my mother-in-law today. These homes are ordinary looking. If you pass by one 1,000 times and you didn't know, you wouldn't know. It's a home. It's a home. If you did pass by it and you know that it is the home, one of the Angela houses, and there's a couple of them on the island, you'll notice that the driveway is a little bit wider than many of the other driveways. You also notice probably have a or two handicap accessible vans that are there. That's about all you would notice. These houses are kept up. They look like every other house. There's a lawn or woods or flowers, or whatever. It's all clean. It's all good. That's what you're going to see on the outside. What you're going to see on the inside is slightly different, and you would notice that something's different. What's different is that they all have a big living room. They all have a big kitchen, big, and the rooms are also set up to look like bedrooms, feel like bedrooms, but they got all the hospital equipment that's necessary in each of the rooms. And they're painted like bedrooms. They're not painted like hospital rooms. The hallway, generally, it's a wide enough hallway for two wheelchairs to pass. And that's what it is on the inside. And the idea there is that if you are going to have that situation where you're visiting, one of these medically frail children, you're going to visit them in a home setting. So a lot, it's a much nicer setting if you go in there with your family, with your, with your siblings, with your sons, daughters, brothers, sisters, other relatives and stuff like that. So it's a nicer setting, definitely a nicer setting. Occasionally, you get a chance if you wanted to go and visit one of these homes, you could arrange it, to go and do. It's not that it's an open door. It's not an open door policy, that kind of thing. But they're definitely accessible. So you can contact Angela's Home if you want to find out about that. Angela's Home Store is right in Medford. You want to drop stuff off to donate? Great. You need stuff picked up? That could be arranged also. Just go to Angela's Home Store on the website and you can get whatever contact information you need on that one. And they do, as with so many nonprofits, and this is a full-blown nonprofit. They've got expenses. They've got medical staff on site all the time, 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. There's nobody's here at the moment. Those kids are there. They are in that home. That is where they stay. Where they stay. They're not there for the day and going home. They are there. So, he needs the medical staff to be there all of the time. A lot of medical equipment is needed all of the time. And all this stuff costs money. All the costs money. So where's he getting the money from? It's different sources, donations, always. I know Mark Klein runs different events for them. It's always great. There's been quite a few of them over the years. Comedy to Go. He'd gotten involved with one, years ago, a comedy event. It was all kids. And that was the tie-in on that one. All the kids who got on stage, all of the performers who got on stage were kids. They were all under the ages of 18, A few people do the intros, the host, whatever, that kind of thing, the MC for the event, but that was it. They were all under 18. It was just absolutely amazing. Absolutely incredible. So there are different events that come up for that. It's got a golf outing and a few other things that so you didn't go to the store. But besides the events, flat out donations, the events that generate income, the home store, which generates income, and of course, there's always support from, grant money, which I have no idea how challenging that is to get, but it does that. So anyway, it's a great cause. It was nice to get down there today, do that, plus a few other things that were have to do's. Have to do's. Motor vehicle. That was joyous. Always fun going to a motor vehicle. Yes. Yes. At least there was no reservations needed. I went there. I went to the Selden one. I went to the Selden one. And they didn't need a reservation, which is good. So last minute thought. Going in there, was I fully prepared? No, I was not. I had to get some documents faxed in over there. Whatever. That wasn't the golden move on my part, but anyhow, at least I got that done and whatever else. And maybe today was a great example because even Angela's store, right? I dropped some stuff off of there. I'm going to be at Browns 112 tomorrow morning. That's right, tomorrow morning, because they have their car show tomorrow morning, which they're going to have WBAB is going to be there. Peter Scalzo is going to be there. He's from Racetrack Not Street. He's the track operator. I'll be down there myself also. Should probably go find one of my, that checkered flag jacket prior to. I don't think I'm going to get that done. We're working on that one prior to get that done before the races next weekend. And it starts August 20th. But, so that's happening tomorrow. It was right down the block from Angela's store. So if you're going to come down to Browns on Route 112, be sure to go visit Angela's house too. Angela's home store while you're down there also. So it's a good cause. All the stuff's good stuff. Good stuff. And I want to thank Browns for helping support the racetrack, WB for helping to support Browns and everything else. And there's so many different sponsors for the Racetrack Not Street. So I mean that's a great thing also. If you go on the Facebook page for Racetrack Not Street, in that group page, you'll be able to see who all these sponsors are. And we'll be sharing some of that stuff also as we move along over here. Got the press release now all set to go out, reaching out to different media to see what we can get covered. Love to try to get folks, if you have connections over here, that'd be good. But looking to get News 12 to attend, Newsday to attend, Long Island Business News. They've been really supportive. LongIsland.com, really supportive. So those will be other ones too. Discover Long Island. Nice to get somebody down there from that also. We get those groups, and then of course the radio stations. JVC Broadcasting has been assisting with the promotions of the event. They are playing it. Let's not make a joke here, by the way. I think they're doing a ticket giveaway on 98.1, JVC Broadcasting's oldies station. It's my music. Yes, yes. What can I tell you, man? It is what it is. But anyhow, so I thought about that. So I'm going to go on these sites and post the event. But there was a car that came out not last year, this year actually. They're in the spring series that was from Islip Speedway. Islip Speedway, and this goes way, way, way back. Islip Speedway is long closed, long closed. The drag strip at Islip Speedway was even closed before that. It was, I don't think it was an eighth of a mile. I don't even know what it was. And then I guess when they put the stands up, or expanded the stands, it took out the drag strip, because I remember that's where the concession stands were. This goes back to my father taking us all out to the drag racing, to the racing at the Islip Speedway, and it was there. I think it was Islip Speedway. Bobby Allison and Richard Petty came out. Bobby Allison in that number 12 golden Coca-Cola car. Man, that was something. I don't know. I guess Coca-Cola was much more in my mind than STP and Richard Petty. But I was just fascinated, by that. Just absolutely fascinated by it. And it's nice to see actually NASCAR go into some of those smaller tracks, getting out there. North Wilkesboro, they just got that track reopened. I think it's been closed for 10 years, if not even a little bit longer than that. But they are, I don't know how they did with the asphalt, but they rebuilt, modernized most of it. The stands held 10,000 people. That's it. Only 10,000 people, which is actually bigger than what Islip was at the time. And they ran a number of races and still are running a number of races. So the next phase on that whole thing is going to rip up the asphalt track. They're going to make it into a dirt track. And then they're going to assess what they want to do. Oh, they're going to keep the track open. But whether or not they keep the track open and let it remain as a dirt track, or repave the whole thing and let it become a paved racetrack again. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But Dale Earnhardt Jr. is very, very involved in it. A lot of other folks too. And it's interesting to see also, again, going back a little bit, those race car drivers, not like Richard Petty and Bobby Allison. They're a little too old to be, jumping behind the wheel. Maybe not on a drag strip, though. Remember, we had our 80-plus-year-old guy driving that big Hudson car down the track. And that gentleman who had the Islip Speedway car that he raced over there, I'll give you a hint. He raced it over there. So he's not 20 years old either. But a lot of the, let's say, race drivers that have retired over the last 5, 10, 15, even 20 years, you find them in some of the lesser division cars. The modified cars, which I don't know how much you want to call that lesser division. These cars fly. But they're doing that, and they're doing the dirt racing, and they're going back to their own roots. So it's kind of exciting. It is kind of exciting. And tying this stuff in with the racing out east, the best story I heard was a Spectator story. Where are we at here? 21 minutes. The best story I heard was a Spectator story. So I was talking to the supervisor, Iveta Guerra. And I'd asked her, it's like, because I told her, I wanted to share different stories on this thing, to help promote it out, which I'm doing, help promote it out in front of different audiences and things like that. And she told me two things. One was the Heinz food truck, which I'll show that interview as we move along over here. You'll see other stuff on my page. I want to filter it through Racetrack, not Street too. So they have all the information, most current have questions on anything else. But here is the story. And maybe this is the, you know, better to go late than not do it at all. Better to just do it and be there than not do it at all. Better to take a chance sometimes than not do it at all. Better to put the effort into something, even if it's a challenge to do. They just say, oh, forget it, man. It's just too much work. You're doing that. Well, maybe it doesn't mean that much to you. I had that conversation with my mother-in-law today too. You know, why I didn't follow through on something. I was like, you know what? Because I wasn't that excited about doing it in the first place. It was part of and all da 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 da. But I didn't follow through with it. I didn't fight it because I just didn't want to. And I don't think I wanted to admit it to myself at the time either. So I just blamed it on somebody else. Oh, those people, those people. But sometimes you just got to do what you got to do because you got to do it. You personally have to do it. And this was the most amazing story I heard. All right. So she had told me about this gentleman, spectator. We're talking spectators here. Not talking about race car drivers. We're not talking about cars. We're not talking about the business aspect of it. You know that the food trucks, how much money the food trucks, make or anything like that. Nothing, not sponsors, no nothing. I'm just talking about these people, these spectators that came out over there. This gentleman came out with his family. Actually, his family brought him because I think he was in a nursing home. They took him out of the nursing home, all right, which I don't know how complicated that is, but I do have a friend whose mom is in a nursing home. It's like sometimes it's not easy, and with COVID, it's a little bit more complicated and all these things. So I'm assuming that they had to jump through a few hoops to make this thing happen, but they made it happen. They made it happen, and they made this thing happen where it was just unbelievable, unbelievable. And it's these kinds of stories that really gives one, me, maybe you, the drive to continue on and continue doing something, even if it is somewhat of a challenge. But here was the story. So this gentleman that they took out of one of the nursing homes to come out over here because he really wanted to get there, he was actually involved with one of the speedways on Long Island that closed down because Islip is closed down, Freeport is closed down, Bridgehampton is closed down, National Speedway in West Hampton has closed down. And then there's a multitude of others that have closed down over the decades because of development and all the rest of this stuff. But they brought him out. They brought him out. He came out to the track and he loved it. He loved the racing. He loved the people. He loved the cars. He loved the excitement. I think he even loved the food trucks. But why? It's because that trip for him was a step back in time. Because he was part of that scene, that racing scene. He was part of the track operations. He was those people running around with the staff shirts on. He was that. And this gave him a chance to not only get out for the day and not only spend some time with his family, who he was so grateful to them for taking the time to go and do this for him, but he got a chance to relive his youth. Wow. I mean, that is unbelievable. And if you can help somebody really relive what they once were, those fond memories, and you know something? That memory right there will continue on in your mind forever and ever and ever. And you know it, every one of you here that's a coach or in sales or just customer service or doing anything where you're helping somebody. When you really truly can provide value to that person, what a great feeling that is. It's like, that's it. Now you know you're in the right place doing the right thing. Well, that day, that story was just incredible. It really was. So, my goal this year out there is not to become an expert on automobiles or anything like that. Not to be able to tell the difference between a 57 Chevy or a 56 Chevy. I don't know if I'd be able to. My goal out there is to get to know those stories, get to know the stories behind the scenes, some of the spectators, some of the drivers, some of the cars. That's the exciting side of it. So that's also why I've been kind of focusing a bit more on this whole idea of preparation, preparation, because I have to. I have to get there. Because if I can do that, not only will I feel very confident when I get behind that microphone and the sound system is better and race, the racing screens are better, so there's more data, easy to read, and all the rest of that stuff. But not only that, by understanding and being able to share those stories, I think it'll make the whole thing a lot more relatable to a lot more people and see beyond the fact that it's not just two cars, going down a track as fast as they can. It's not just the excitement of having a very quick reaction time. No, it's about those people actually becoming entertainers in their own right. It's about that event actually being a step back in time for so many people. And it's also about that event being something that this generation will reference to in years to come. Man, I've been doing that a lot too. Every time I talk about these car shows, every time I talk about any of that stuff, I mentioned, yeah, there was that Chevy there. Is it 56 or 57? I don't know. But I do know that was a Chevy back in my dad's time. And I think he'd get a kick out of it. And he has. I also do reference many times the fact that my experience as a kid going for my 13th birthday to Islip Speedway, Freeport Speedway, going out there, dad took us out, for my birthday with my friends. We've gone out there for family, for different family events. And we were spectators, 100% spectators. I do not ever remember my dad talking about the engine in a car. Didn't even talk about the drivers. I asked him, I was like, why did we go? What was the connection? He said, I just thought it would be a fun thing to do. Well, you know what? He was right. And this is too. It is a fun thing to do. There's a lot of different audiences that this would be a good thing for. Yeah, I think so. Those drivers that just can't drive anymore because they've reached a maturity level, it's just not time to be behind the wheel. And maybe to bring back some fond memories there. Maybe to bring back some fond memories of you as a kid. Maybe it'll help you improve your photography skills. Maybe it'll be a chance for you to see what different vocations and careers that are possible surrounding automotive, surrounding car racing, surrounding food trucks, surrounding event planning, surrounding marketing, surrounding PR, surrounding any of those things. Maybe you'll be a school administrator in the BOCES program, in one of the STEM programs, and you'll be able to see what this really does. Maybe you'll come out that day when the Beat the Heat program is there. The police officers are going to be racing against the public. Maybe you'll learn more about what the LA Police Department is doing and how they take the officers in their spare time, and it's a separate 501c3. So it's not a government program, it is a private enterprise. And what they do at their car shows and different events they do, and how they support this group called Skills USA, who happens to be or happens to have a representative in BOCES right here on Long Island. Maybe, just maybe, you'll see these different connections. And this is why it's so important for this to happen. Because not only will it bring back fond memories, not only will it generate income and revenue and tourism and stuff like that, but I think it'll also create more people, more of the younger folks seeing what's possible when going to school. Because there's those stories too. One last quick one over here. There's a gentleman. This is when I went to the Oceanside High School car show. Again, it's one of the cars I was talking to him, and he told me that he was in the auto program in Oceanside High School years ago. I was how old he was, 50, 60, something like that. and how he went out when he bought a house. He bought a 6-car. He wanted a house with a 6-car garage. I was like, that's not an easy thing to find or build or make sure you have the room to expand. But he told me that when he was in the auto program, he took a job at a gas station. I mean, he took the job at a gas station pumping gas. All of a sudden, they would have found out he knew how to change oil and he knew how to change brake pads. He knew how to do all these things. And his career just kind of grew from there. Those are the stories I want to tell also. And how the job descriptions in the various industries are filled by those that are working on automobiles, or as the Oceanside School did, they built a boat. There's so many skills, so many opportunities, so many manufacturing opportunities in the manufacturing industry around here, so many in production. Also, who knew? Hopefully you will over the next couple of weeks. Could somebody just keep on sharing these stories? So we're back in full force next week. It's going to be exciting. I know I'm looking forward to it, and I will prepare for it a little bit more. I hope you do what you need to do too to make it work. Mike, you're my hero. Thanks for doing everything else. The rest of you folks, again, thank you for tuning in. Better late than not today on Tomato Talk. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the weather. It's like fall. It's just like the humidity's gone, everything like that. And remember, when you get excited about something, you need to speak well, speak often, and live inspired, because what you do will be seen by others and you'll help them live inspired too. All right, let's get the house band going again. Do-do-do. Yeah, look at that, on cue. Those folks don't sleep, man. Do-do-do-do.